Oh, well hello there lads, laddies and lassos. It's your main man Markee, back at it again with another episode of r/MaliciousCompliance. Ha, you thought I was the click there, didn't you? Get memed on. Now, if you're new to this channel, feel free to subscribe to my amazing community. You should also head on over to my subreddit r/Markee and post your own stories, because that's exactly what I'm going to be reading out in this first story today. Now, with that out of the way, I'd love for you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some good content. I hope you love it. Now, our first story is by user Kaiser Smoke Haze, titled, Employer Maliciously Complies. They say, "Hi Markee, I love your channel and enjoy your content immensely. And I enjoy you immensely for being part of this community, buddy. Thank you. I have lots of stories to post here, but please allow me one from my youth to start. I grew up with professional parents. They owned a small business in small-town USA and ran it together. As a family business, I often found myself roped into helping out. My parents were fair and always paid me for my services. Sometimes I'd be asked to drive something or someone from one place to another. When this happened, my parents' business would throw $10 at me for fuel and other incidentals. I knew that the $10 more than covered fuel and wear on my car, and kept my mouth shut. An unspoken business arrangement began of me pocketing the difference as a tip. Fast forward a few years. I'm in college, but I was home for summer break. My parents, once again, asked me to help out around the office. They told me that they had an intern from the local community college, so I'd have help. Because I had years of experience, I was asked to lead the intern, even though I was only a few years older. One day, my boss's parents handed down an assignment that involved driving. I was excited at the simultaneous notion that I'd be free to the intern for a bit and earning a tip. But my father pointed out that I was needed in the office. He then wanted the intern to do the driving. So I begrudgingly handed the $10 to the intern. Alexander Hamilton staring back at me mockingly. "Damn it, Mr. Hamilton, you should be in my pockets." The next day, I'd barely arrived in the office when my parents called me into a meeting. The intern had filed a grievance for inappropriate travel compensation. In the US, the IRS has rules about driving for work and required reimbursement. Now, I believe it's about 59 cents per mile, but back then it was about 52 cents per mile. My directive from the bosses was to fix it, so I maliciously complied. Google Maps wasn't quite a thing yet, so I pulled up MapQuest in my browser. According to MapQuest, the intern's destination had been 2.4 miles away. Round trip, that's 4.9 miles, because of rounded or truncated decimals. I rounded up to the last 0.1 miles to account for parking. Note, parking was free. I'm simply referring to the extra distance and vehicle wear. This brought the grand total miles to 5 exactly. At 52 cents per mile, that added up to $2.60. I wrote out an invoice for $7.40 along with an explanation and submitted it to the intern. The next day, he handed me an envelope. Inside was a check for $7.40 along with a note asking that he not be asked to drive for the business anymore. I'm not sure if the moral of the story is to do the math or keep your mouth shut, but I made all the bonus driving money for the rest of the summer. Buy Old Red Sled. I just don't understand how he didn't know that rule. That is a bit ridiculous there, Old Red Sled. You really gamed the system, so good on you for that. You understood while he's just a big dumb boy. Anyway, what can you do? That's the society we live in these days. And thank you for submitting. On to the next story. Now our next story was posted by user RSCommitted, titled, Putting Away Delivery Takes Top Priority, Not Matter What. A while back, I worked at a fantastic Midwestern gas station in the town that I live in. They were pretty short-staffed when I applied, and I was kind of desperate for a job. So I was really excited when I joined, even part-time. I learned the ropes pretty quickly, as there really wasn't too much that differed from previous jobs I've held. My boss, we'll call her Helga, because it's such an ugly name, constantly complimented me on how well I was doing so quickly. It made me feel great. Soon after this, an opportunity for a full-time position became available. Overnights, not ideal, but full-time. I quickly accepted and began that training immediately. I was trained partly by the assistant manager, who we'll call Brad. Brad had been at the store for a few years, and had shown me a few tips and tricks and bits and bobs and stuff around the place, to make the nightly routine go by much quicker. The routine was pretty much the same every night. General cleaning of the store, deep cleaning of food/drink makers, restocking, and making breakfast in the morning hours. The only difference came on the delivery nights, which were twice a week. Now, on the overnights, usually only one person is on. On delivery nights, however, a second worker would come in part way through the shift to specifically help with putting the items away, so that the other work could still be done in a timely manner. Brad was usually that guy. The first few weeks went smooth as butter. One delivery night, however, Brad was sick, and no one could cover for him. Not a problem, I thought. I could just do as much of the delivery as possible, while still managing to get my other duties done. I managed to get through a good 85% of it, mostly the cold goods and things that needed to be put in the refrigerator and freezer. The remaining items were placed neatly at the end of the food island and out of the way of any customers. I finished my morning duties and waited for my relief. I felt good about what I had done and figured Hella would see my effort and feel the same way. No, I was wrong. Immediately upon entering the store, Helga saw the items still sitting on the floor at the end of the island. She didn't initially say anything, so I didn't think much of it. I waited the last few minutes to clock out, and went over to the computer to do so. As I'm about to leave, Helga stops me and pulls me aside. She asks me why hadn't the delivery been put away as usual. I explained to her that Brad had not been in the night before to assist me with the delivery, and that I still wanted to be able to finish my other nightly duties. So I did what I thought was necessary, and then I moved on. I explained to her that if I hadn't stopped when I did, that morning food would not have been prepared, and the next shift would have been slammed making food, trying to get out of basic stuff, along with special orders that inevitably came every morning. She looked at me for a moment before going on a tangent about how delivery is the most important thing to worry about, and how I was wrong for doing what I did. I was taken aback because I really thought I had done right, but apparently not. She concluded with, "Next time, finish putting the delivery away before anything else." Cue malicious compliance. I had to wait about a month or so before I could actually act on this, unfortunately. My boss felt it unnecessary to have a second person helping on deliveries anymore. I could not give you the slightest reason as to why, but my time had come. On a nice Thursday night, the delivery arrived approximately 2 hours late. I completed my other duties that could be done prior to the delivery. After it was offloaded from the truck, I immediately began working on putting it all away. Backstory to this specific delivery. We had some electrical issues prior which ruined some product and some back ordering as well, which to those that don't know means that some items weren't able to come on the previous truck due to stock issues in the warehouses. So this delivery was huge, like almost twice as many boxes as a usual delivery. But this is top priority, so I focused on it. It was about 20 minutes or so before the shift exchange when I finally got finished putting the stuff away, approximately 6 hours from start. But I got it all put away. I was happy. There was one problem. Breakfast wasn't made and nothing was prepped for the Friday sale we have every Friday for pizza. Usually, I would have had 10 or so pizzas prepared for the next shift, so they can just whip them into the oven and start on other things. I also usually had the breakfast area full of fresh sandwiches and whatnot, but not today. Shift change happens and Helga walks in with a smile on her face. She notices this time there are no boxes on the end of the island and seems ecstatic, until she walks a little further down the aisle and notices that there's no food in the warmer. She then goes to the kitchen to look in the fridge and notices there are no pizzas prepared. Her face turned a shade of red that I'd never seen before, and she immediately returned to the front and called me back. I complied and walked to the back with her, fully knowing what was about to come. She exploded at me, asking why there was no food prepared, and that today is a busy day, and that she wasn't going to stand for this kind of laziness. I let her finish her rant before I answered, well, the delivery was a bit bigger this time because of all the extra stuff, and honestly, I am surprised I got it done. But I got it done because that's what you told me to do. I wish Brad would have been there to help. This delivery was huge. I clocked out after a few more minutes of her again telling me that I was wrong and all that yada yada. I didn't really care to continue the conversation, and I knew I had made my point. I came back a couple of hours later to buy some things for home. The poor kitchen staff was struggling to get enough food out to satiate the morning crowd, but at least the delivery was put away. Oh yikers, that is a huge yikers. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed these episodes today, tell me what you thought about it down in the description below. Anyway, I'm going to be putting a lot of effort into the Markee Reddit content, because that's where my heart is right now, I understand. I love doing audiobook kind of content like this, don't get me wrong. But I want to make friends with these bigger YouTubers and find some different avenues of success. I'm going to be asking you guys to help me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever avenues there are to get their attention, because I've tried contacting them directly and it's a lot harder to get collaborations than I would have thought. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video today. Tell me what you think about it in the description below, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!